Welcome back, everybody. I'm glad you're here. Let me unpack what's happening right now. Erin has formed, and it is now set to become not only a hurricane, but a major Category 3 hurricane. Folks, that's what we've been tracking for days now, and what we're going to have to watch in the days to come is how close to the United States does this system get. Most of the computer models want to show it curving out early because it got strong early. The European AI, one of the anomalies. It wants to get this closer to the United States because it keeps it steady. Tropical storm status, then blowing up. That allows it to get closer to the eastern United States. And one trend that we'll have to watch to see, do the other computer models in the next couple of days follow suit with the European AI? Is it on to something? Or do the other models, the consistent models that are showing this going up through Bermuda, do they win out? It all depends on what happens in the next 48 hours. So folks, if you're new to this channel, my whole deal is to give you an early warning to severe weather so you can stay safe. Please like this video, subscribe, and turn on notifications right now. And if you can do me a favor, please go into the comment section right now and let me know where you're watching from. I'll do another one of these video updates this evening. I'll launch it at about 10 p.m. and I'll have your questions answered. I'll also give you some shout outs where you're watching from because, folks, I know so many of you are trusting me from the islands, from Florida, from Georgia, into the Carolinas, and that means so much. I do not take that lightly. I really take my job seriously, and giving you the latest updates is what I do. All right, so let's look at what's happened today. We've got new data in on Tropical Storm Erin. So let's unpack that here for you. Let me refresh my screen to give you the latest data because as this moves forward here, we're going to have to watch where Erin goes. The European AI is one of those that wants to send it a little bit closer to the United States, and that's one that we'll have to watch very closely here. Where does it go, and where are we going to see that go in the days to come? Let me turn on, there you go, you see Erin, you see that new track. It shows it getting into 100-mile-per-hour winds by the time we get to late this week, and by the time it goes north of you folks in the islands, it's a Cat 3 with 115-mile-per-hour sustained winds. So for the northern part of the Lesser Antilles, we're putting you on monitor mode right now. You're at that yellow light, okay? You're not in the red light, which means you should stop, alter plans, move, do some different things. If we're looking at the stoplight, you're not green either. You're at monitor. So, hey, staying dialed in, be ready to act if you need to, but also know that this could dial north of your area and you just get a near miss, which we'll all be okay with, right? Let's unpack some of the computer models. This is a ensemble kind of whole look at all the different models. You got the GFS here in green. It has trended a little bit to the west. The UK Met is in blue right here. And then you've got the ensembles kind of along with that. So they all show a recurve. It's just a matter of where. Is it closer to the United States? Is it further out? The stronger it gets earlier, the more it's going to trend to go to the north. So the fact that it is already a hurricane today would lend some thoughts that this will probably curve earlier because of the fact that it is indeed getting stronger earlier. Weaker goes west. Remember that saying. The ensemble forecast, as we can see as we look at the models and kind of how they're feeling about themselves, they give us that token here. So we're pretty confident through hours 108. That gets you right before the curve, okay? So high confidence in the next 36 hours, moderate confidence as we go toward hours 108. How about the ensemble spread versus climatology? They're pretty average. But we need to watch hours 120 through 168 because the models honestly have low confidence in themselves because they just don't have enough to work off of. Here are the latest spreads of the European, the GFS. They're in good lockstep through the next, like the models just said, 108 hours. Then they try to make that curve, some of them a little earlier than others. Does that happen? Well, we're going to model break it down for you here in just a moment. Here's the model suite for it as it came through. We'll get more of these throughout the day, so make sure you stay tuned. And the fact that this is now a system, we now have that activity. So let's break down the spread of the models and go back one model run to try to identify some threats. So let's look at the entire model suite here. Invest 97L, there it is. You see some of them curving it way early while the most of them are curving it then. How about one run ago? About the same look. 2 runs ago. 3 runs ago. It did look like they tried to curve a little earlier 3 runs ago. So let's just work that through, but backwards. There you go. There you go. There you go. So a little bit more to the west, but here's Bermuda. So is it going to try to thread that needle between the Outer Banks and Bermuda? We've got some wiggle room there. We don't want it to hit Bermuda. So if it goes a little west of Bermuda, a little east of the Outer Banks, that would be fine. Let's look at the GFS ensemble first. All right. So here's a wider look at it. You've got the deterministic, which is that one that, you'll see ran twice, 3 times a day. It's the one that has the most computing power into it. And then you've got the ensemble member, which is the black. So the ensemble is kind of an average of all 28 different runs of the model underneath the hood, so to speak. That usually leads the way as far as trends. So if you see this one out here, it's probably going to start to swing closer to that. So maybe a little further west. But you also see here on the GFS, there are about half of the computer models here out of the 28 that now show it going west of the mean, west of the control or the main run. So does this trend kind of sway it a little bit more? Like I said, we got a little wiggle room from Cape Hatteras to Bermuda, but not much. We don't want it getting down here into Bermuda because at some point, if this thing gets too strong and too big and doesn't start turning, it's hard to turn that big bus, okay? So let's look at the GFS from one model run ago. All right. Let's go 2 runs ago. Was way out to curving, okay? How about 4 runs ago? There you go, a big curve. So the GFS model has indeed, it is extending out, so you're going to see it go a little bit further out because now it's deeper into time. But it does look like there has been a little bit more of a spread. I mean, from the farthest ensemble run over here to over here. They're kind of split, so that's why you see it down the middle. But there are a lot of these runs here that are very strong and very west on the European, or I should say the GFS. Let's look at the European run. All right. Here's the latest European ensembles. And again, you've got 51 different varieties of the European, while on the GFS you have 28. But here's the control. The control is farther to the west than the ensemble means. But the ensemble mean is right here, while a good many of them are to the east, roughly half, while the other half are kind of maybe 3/10 of them are right here, with maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of them out of 51 go over here. So this is the most likely path where these 2 bigger lines are. Possible, but least likely. So that's why I say we're in monitor mode. We're in wait and watch mode here across the northern part of the islands. And then same story for the Bahamas. We're in monitor mode from Florida to Georgia to the Carolinas and certainly South Carolina and North Carolina. Because just based on your geography, you're further out, you have a better chance at this trying to come closer to you. Let's unpack the European model 1 run back. So roughly, 50-50, kind of split there. That's why it's down the middle over Bermuda. All right, let's look a little bit closer. Intensity. The models are in great agreement here with this thing becoming a hurricane. We know we're probably going to get Category 1 Hurricane Erin probably in the next few days. The stronger it gets earlier, the more likely it is to turn out to sea and not be a threat to the United States. Many of the models show Cat 3 or above. They go to a major hurricane. We'll have to watch that threat closely. How about the GFS? A great way to look at the same spaghetti models you just looked at for the GFS. Where do they go? And the density. This is a really easy map to read from Tropical. You've got the deterministic. You've got the ensemble means. So that's the GFS. Let's look closer at this. Okay, so it is getting organized, getting that classic tropical storm look. Is it going to get so big so fast that this thing starts to turn immediately? It's very possible. Let's look at the GFS, latest ensemble run, or latest operational run. It's got this thing strengthening beginning Wednesday into Thursday. Big hurricane on Thursday night into Friday, a stronger hurricane, so it begins to bend to the north. Now you got a major hurricane. This is Cat 3, Cat 4, moving up toward Bermuda. Yikes. Bermuda takes a direct hit according to the GFS from a major hurricane. Well away from the United States, no threat. All right, it has no other subsequent systems after that. That's important because the European does. All right, let's look at the GFS ensembles. Very similar track, big cluster of them in here. You've got a few of them down here closer to Florida and to the Carolinas, but a bigger congruence of them here across Bermuda, and no threat to the United States. As we look at the European model, we'll look at the most recent one first. Shows this going west, 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 west. So interesting. It doesn't blow it up until it gets north of the Caribbean islands right here. And because it's delayed in getting stronger, it's also delayed in turning. So let's look and see what the last full run of the European is. A little further north and a little stronger. You see that? So the 2 runs ago, it's stronger, a little further north. The most recent run is a little bit weaker, a little bit further to south. All right, so just something to keep in the back of your mind. All right, here we go with the rest of the European. It curves. Now it's a big major hurricane. It's west of Bermuda. That's good. And it's well west of Cape Hatteras. That's good. Whew. But you got a monster a couple hundred miles offshore of the eastern United States. Let's hope it kind of stays right there. Doesn't get close to the United States. But boy, anybody from North Carolina up through the mid-Atlantic into the Northeast would even have to watch this. I mean, it is not out of the question for Rhode Island, New York, Massachusetts to get impacted by a tropical system. It's not common, but it is not out of the question. All right, so that's the latest full run of the European. Let's look at the European AI model. This is new this year, folks, and honestly, it's done pretty well. It identified this system early on. It's got a weaker system staying weak. Now, this has been the trend the European AI has done all along. Weak, 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 continuing to be weak. Even a tropical storm Saturday north of the Caribbean Islands. Because it's weaker, it's further to the south. It does not get caught up in that steering current. Folks, remember, a key to tracking tropical systems, weaker systems are going to trend to go west. A stronger system blows up. That taller cloud gets you caught up in some of the steering currents and allows that Bermuda high to grab it and send it over. So because this is weaker, it kind of sneaks under some of that Bermuda high influence. And as we move forward here, this would begin to move closer to the Bahamas. Not great there. You got a 968, so Cat 2, Cat 3, well west of Bermuda, a little closer than we would like to North Carolina, and it's a big, big hurricane right here. This would thread that needle ever so slightly, ever so delicately. It also has a system number 2 behind it, kind of forming in its wake next Thursday. That system wants to track west over the Caribbean islands. Puerto Rico, you got a tropical storm. Dominican Republic and Haiti, you've got a hurricane. And then up through the Bahamas, you got a big hurricane, which this European model wants to take toward Florida, for what it's worth right there. Let's go one run back on European AI. Weaker goes west, continuing that theme. Right in there. Got another major hurricane off the Carolina coast. But it threads that needle delicately. It also, 2 runs ago, develops that secondary system. It curves it out to sea, though, after giving some heavy rain to the Dominican Republic, Haiti, and you folks in Puerto Rico. All right, let's look at the AI ensembles. This is, again, looking underneath the hood of the European. How is it behaving and what kind of support does it have? It's got a lot of support from its ensemble. It's got a lot of weaker lows clustered together, which, consistency breeds confidence. So we know there's going to be something north of the Caribbean islands. We need to put you on monitor mode in the northern part of the island chain here. Same story for Puerto Rico, but, kind of a wait and watch, not a cancel your plan, not a stressful situation right now for you. Just hey, we're watching it. All right, so this continues to move, and a lot of the ensembles want to thread that needle in between Bermuda. Very few of them hit the United States. A lot of them go in between the Outer Banks and Bermuda. So that is good news. So you've got some consistency there. Now, what happens according to the regular European ensembles? Well, this system's got some great consistency through, again, hours 108. Right there is when we need it to turn. If it's not turning yet, if for some reason it blows up and cycles back down, does it not make that western turn the time that we need it to? Those things are all things that have happened before that, we know kind of throw us curveballs sometimes. Here's another look at that same model, but plotted with lines. You see there's some good consistency in the European until you get to about right here. So from right here, well east of Bermuda to getting very close to the Outer Banks on the far right, left-hand side of your screen. Got to see that. What about the German model, the Icon? It does pretty well once a tropical system has formed, and we've got a couple of different runs of it. It's got it identified well. It's got it blowing up a little bit, 1005, tropical storm, and then it's got it moving west, northwest, and then up. Looks like it's starting to make that turn because it's getting stronger. So the Icon would like to show it moving further to the northwest and getting close to Bermuda. Boy, that's a big one, though. Icon wants to blow it up into a strong storm system. So, folks, all things considered, we've got to watch it, especially because we've had so much flooding rain across the I-95 corridor from the Carolinas to Florida. Southwest Florida's had 3 months worth of rain in a matter of about 2 days, and we don't want any more. Not to say that you're going to get any more from anything tropical, but there is a little low pressure system over the Gulf that, hey, weirder things have happened. We'll be watching that system too. But all eyes are on Erin, set to become a major Cat 3 hurricane. And folks, I'll be right here with you, keeping you posted along the way. So again, if you're new to this channel and haven't, I do these videos every single day. I'll keep you up to date along the way. Subscribe, turn on notifications, and please in the comment section, let me know where you're watching from. I'll drop another video tonight, giving you some shout outs and letting you know any kind of answers to your questions that you may have. I appreciate you being here, and stay tuned. We'll keep tracking it and more all the way through hurricane season.